I do have one question, and maybe Okazumi-san needs to leave in maybe like 8 minutes, so maybe Okazumi-san has also have feedback or questions.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you very much. Very excellent, very impressive presentations. First of all, I really appreciate that we have a quite similar problem and similar challenging especially for aging infrastructures, aging of dams. So, Dr. Ravi gave us some good impression to the Japanese the operation maintenance, especially for Japan Water Agency's colleagues. But we still have some challenging for improving our productivity and also some operation maintenance effectiveness. That's our new challenges, and to make more effective operation maintenance. That's our new challenges, and so they and we also working very hard to make better operation maintenance, and especially the dam itself is quite very big infrastructure and impact to the surroundings areas, especially downstream. That's very critical issue. So then, and some activity of India, maybe we can find easily some part of your activities must be advanced than Japan. So maybe exchange our knowledges and exchange our technology can be not only for Japan, also both countries benefit. Okay, thank you very much. We very much appreciate to work together. Thank you.
I would like to respond to what Mr. Dr. Okazumi mentioned about possible collaboration with mutual gain. I do agree that we also have a very long history of dam building and operation and maintenance of dam. As I already mentioned, that we also have a very high safety record in terms of our dams. And definitely there are a lot of areas which we feel also can be beneficial to Japan. Especially cases where serious issues have been observed because of the aging phenomena, as I was trying to mention. Yeah, I understand Dr. Okazumi has gone for his scheduled meeting, but still let me continue. We would like to be very happy to collaborate for this mutual benefit and share our experience with further collaboration also. Especially the areas of earthen dam management, which we have almost 80% of our dams are earthen dam, and we have been able to have a very good track record. Other area which we did notice was in terms of practically a kind of a absolutely lack of arrangement in terms of what we call as dam break studies. In Japan, in fact, wherever we inquired, we were told that that Japan doesn't actually do any such study like dam break studies. But in India, we are doing that. And as part of that study, we also look for a scenario which is not exactly a dam break condition, but still a dam failure condition in terms of operational management. So probably those areas also we can collaborate.
I just have one question to you, Ravi. So you mentioned that there's a rehabilitation activities have been ongoing for 250 dams, and you have achieved some achievements, including desiltation studies and monitoring application and software development. How have the expertise and the knowledge obtained from the 3 visits to Japan have been applied to the design and the implementation of your ongoing rehabilitation activities?
The benefits which we got from the Japan visit and how we have translated into our drip activity, there are a few areas which we have tried to immediately translate into. One is that seismic response system. We are actually looking for a possibility of immediate collaboration with Japan in setting up a earthquake response procedure or a system in some of our drip dam. If we are already trying to bring out seismic instrumentation practically for each one of our dam, we are already in dialogue with our premier institute of IIT Roorkee, which is actually having a separate department for earthquake engineering. Recently, we had a discussion with them, and we intend to come out with some kind of a centralized seismic response system, at least in terms of data gathering. And probably a collaboration with Japan will take us in a more responsive system in that direction. Second is in the sediment management. We, as I was saying, that the kind of system which is already in place, we will try to at least replicate that in some of our dams. UJVN's Maneri Dam is one such case where we have seen that the boulders which are falling through the spillway area are damaging our downstream toe of the dam, and we want to put in a system of like trapping the rock boulders, and this is something which we actually have been able to see from the practical conditions which are there in Japan and the system which you have already put in place. So we gained something in terms of even the thought process of how to manage that. And thirdly, the people inclusive approach which is already in place in Japan, that has also impressed us, and we intend to bring that approach to all of our dams in India, in fact starting with drip dams, because you can understand that we actually have got some kind of a little less development in that direction, and we in that manner we have got a lot of negative propaganda which goes against the dam. So bringing dam into more of people inclusive domain will help us to sustain our water resources infrastructure and also grow further. So with that intent, we will try to replicate our experiences from the Japan exposure visits to put some corrections in our Indian dams. Thank you.
Just one question to Ravi in response to Ichihara-san's presentation. So Japan Water Agency is going to develop an operation manual and guideline for seismic hazard management for one particular dam in India. What is your plan or ideas on how to disseminate this operation manual to 250 dams in India? Do you think a training program to train each state would be necessary, or what is your idea of disseminating?
Okay. Actually, before answering that question directly, let me point out that the DRIP as such is already a program which is a kind of a forerunner for all dam safety measures which we intend to put in place for all of our large dam assets. In fact, the whole philosophy of DRIP is also linked with the dam the dam safety legislation which is in the pipeline. In fact, when we were processing the DRIP, we actually wanted to use DRIP to become a kind of a model for putting in place everything which was envisaged under the dam safety bill. So every desire which is embedded in the dam safety bill is already happening under the DRIP. And our learning curve from the DRIP we are already sharing with every dam owner in India through many of our training programs, workshop, as well as the National Dam Safety Conference. So in that direction, whatever we are doing under DRIP is already being showcased and being shared in the form of manuals, guidelines, and other possibilities for implementation in each of our dams. So this O&M guideline in terms of seismic safety, in terms of seismic response, which we want to now really take up in collaboration with JWA, will automatically extend to all other dams.
Thank you, Ravi. Okay.
Good morning, Ravi, Mr. Ravi Pillai. I am Dr. Panwar from Uttarakhand. I am Principal Secretary of Power Department. And let me just make this small observation. Of course, I will formally thank the organizers, but I particularly want to appreciate and thank Central Water Commission for involving states like Uttarakhand for the special reason that in my state, the dams are unlike in the rest of the country, where dams are majorly used for irrigation, drinking water purposes. My primary focus is power generation. So far, and also I must appreciate and thank the Central Water Commission, of course, the World Bank, for including for this exposure visit people like me who, sitting in the government, are not sensitized to the needs of dam safety, even from the point of view of power generation. While of course the dam safety is important for whatever function the dam is performing, it is absolutely essential, but we tend to neglect the maintenance of such assets because dam safety does not occur to me as a priority area when I am budgeting resources for maintenance. In my state, typically, we've been neglecting our water resource assets from maintenance budgets because, of course, there is always a resource crunch. But my visit to this place and having seen the Japanese system, I am now very, very sensitized to the importance of allocating more funds for my own assets, not only to ensure power generation, but also primarily to obtain safety of dams in order for them to perform whatever function they are built to perform. So I just wanted to make that observation. And also, in terms of the point that you made about dissemination of this, whatever we've learned from this exposure visit, successive delegations, I think we need to take it up at a more organized manner, because I feel that my manpower in my state need to have more intensive training on dam safety and reservoir maintenance. Sedimentation is a huge problem as you already mentioned, in my dams. At the same time, Himalayan geology is very different from the rest of the country, very fragile geology. So we get these flash floods, cloud bursts, very unexpected water behavior for which we are not ready. And an example of which is the floods of 2013, which caused very widespread damage. So I'm very grateful, and I deeply appreciate the Central Water Commission's view on this, and also the World Bank. We must include a wider audience for participating in such programs. Thank you.
Let me thank Dr. Panwar for his nice remarks, sir. We will definitely try to improve or rather enlarge the basket of entities who can join this exposure visit. As long as June is supporting this program from the World Bank, we will try to extend it to maximum limit. And of course, we are, as you rightly said, we need to sensitize not only the field level people but the administrator also, as you very well pointed out. So we really will try to look into this factor and bring more and more administrator into our exposure visits.
Thank you. Also, Ravi, just to clarify, I think you also mentioned that the emergency action plan is under development. How do you plan to integrate the operation manual that Japan Water Agency is going to develop into the emergency action plan that you plan to develop for all the dams?
One small difference which I would like to point out here is that every activity which is dealt within our dam premises may not be directly related to an emergency action plan. What we are trying to call in terms of emergency action plan is essentially focusing on people other than the dam safety setup people. That is the people who are to be warned of possible emergency downstream the dam. That is the system, the district administration, the national or the state level disaster management authorities, and the people in general of the emergencies which are gradually or suddenly going to happen at the dam site. So from that point of view is what we prepare the emergency action plan. Essentially, it has two components. One is the possible inundated areas, identification of those inundated areas, and the extent of conditions which can happen there in terms of the time of the wavefront arrival, the possible depth of inundation, and the velocity of water, which all these three factors are very important from the point of view of disaster response. So the idea of emergency action plan is to look beyond the dam and talk about dam safety in the sense of reducing the consequences of a dam emergency condition. So the EAP document is actually focusing outwardly, whereas everything which we are talking in terms of our SOP, etc., is focused more of inwardly, that how do we respond, how do we understand. So a good SOP will actually help us in understanding the development of the emergency condition as such. And once we have understood the emergency correctly, then we can use emergency action plan to respond to that condition. So that's how the connectivity is going to happen. So to understand the emergency correctly, we really need to have a emergency a SOP where we will put in place, as it has been done in Japan, that we will have a response something like within an hour of the event, then validate that by another 3-hour report of the event, and then if needed go back and look and produce a 24-hour report likewise. All this system is not in place in our dam owning entities department and work practices. So we will definitely benefit from the checklist, the SOP, and the instrumentation, all that thing which is already in place. We will try to directly leverage on that and come out and customize it for our Indian dams and then scale it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi. Do you guys, anybody has any feedback or questions?
As Dr. Pawar rightly pointed out, these exposure visits change our outlook, how the operation and maintenance of dams should be carried out. So that was a immediate takeaway from these visits. One area, what Ravi has already pointed out, the area of cooperation. Though I may be deviating from the area of dam safety here, but one area which we would like to cooperate, that is IWRM, Integrated Water Resources Management. Of course, dam safety also can be part of IWRM, like Integrated Flood Management is part of IWRM. JWA, as we discussed, we have wide interaction with them. They are doing a lot of work in IWRM, and we can collaborate. And also, like Japanese people, it appears the Japanese river also well behaved, unlike Indian rivers, where there is a lot of variability, and in terms of turbidity, like turbidity varies from few hundred ppm to say 5,000 ppm or more. Discharge varies in very huge. Similarly, the coverage is also very, very wide. It sometimes extends to many, many kilometers, like in case of Ganga, Brahmaputra. So that way, Japan, whatever the system you have developed, it can be a mutual basically learning curve also, because when we test some system, many of the systems have been developed by European countries, but when they are applied on Indian rivers, there are always challenges. So this is the area where we can cooperate upon. This is the area I will stress immediately can be taken. Thank you.
Good morning to Mr. Pillai, Mr. Manoj and Mr. Yuki from India, and our team here from Japan Water Agency, Dr. Kido and Mr. Ichiara. Of course, Mr. June from World Bank. We are really delighted and very happy to be here for exposure visit, and where we have seen two dams, visited two dams, seen the water management, seen the O&M activities. As Dr. Pillai rightly mentioned, the hoist and the whole arrangement of the machinery of the gate was so covered that we thought that it is really very easy to maintain them. And at the same time, this is one of the takeaway from here to our country to maintain our dams more beautifully and more efficiently. It's an eye opener. Seeing the infrastructure and how it is working there, seeing the temperature variation, how they are maintaining the water management there for releases. We are there in the Uttarakhand, having the estimate which is sanctioned and admitted by the World Bank for 170 crores for 5 dams and its associated accessories. We are fully geared up, and I want to assure Mr. June that we will be doing in time. We have already started the activities, and it is really an eye-opener. And through this exposure visit, we feel that we will be in a better way to manage the things in our infrastructure in a better way in Uttarakhand. And as pointed out by Dr. Pillai, that JWA, we will be thankful that the cooperation should be there, such coordination for earthquake early warning system, seismic event response system, and sediment management. There are many areas where the training also is a concern. As Dr. Pawar said, we would be very happy to have all those things so that the system can be improved with the coordination. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. And I just want to express for which I am delighted for having seen the important 2 dams like Takizawa and Urayama for 1 or 2 days. And, basically, I am delighted with respect to this Japan's history, keeping for 305 dams with best inventory system. I think which the Karnataka especially need to follow it to maintain the total history of the dams with respect to the emergency action plan or with respect to operation and maintenance. And even I am totally delighted with respect to this routine maintenance, extraordinary maintenance, periodic maintenance, and especially the maintenance after 30 years, which they call as comprehensive. We need to look at this point seriously because Karnataka has got almost 236 dams, which are almost more than 25 years old. And the higher factor of safety, which is considered for dam construction, is also an important factor, one of the factors which we need to follow in our future construction of dams. And the quality of construction was really very good when we compare with our quality in our state and country. And that's what I was showing Mr. Raj yesterday when we visited this Urayama Dam and both Takizawa. This sensitivity towards environmental care taken by the Japan government is really appreciable. When I just observed the nest being provided for the eagle birds, and also the care taken for the fishermen for their maintaining this normal life, and rather without disrupting their normal life. And regarding emergency action plan, which is almost a part of DRIP program now, taken for all the 7 implementing agencies. The robust seismic surveillance program is seen in Japan, and this forewarning of catastrophic events and emergency response is also one of the best points to be noted from people like me, and especially SOP for dams against seismic events. Regarding O&M, operation and maintenance, I have seen these very good practices, which I think we lack much in this aspect. And automation of dam monitoring system is also one of the wonderful things. And especially with respect to tourism development, the people inclusive approach is very good. Especially when I went through one of the galleries or gallery-like structure yesterday, it was really very impressive for me, and especially it will definitely attract the tourist. This is also considered as part of our DRIP program in Karnataka for few dams. And finally, for these 5-6 days, we had a very good atmosphere, and all the JW officers or engineers have taken utmost care with an unforgettable hospitality, which I carry with me to India, and very friendly atmosphere. And I'm happy to see the hardworking style of the people here. And because when I heard about the yesterday's two dams, there were hardly 24 people who are looking after the dam, I mean, O&M and other things, and which we need to follow, because otherwise, even we have almost 5-6 times of people in our dams, we are not able to, look after the dams like this. And I take this opportunity to thank Mr. June and Raj from World Bank and Shibuya for giving me especially an opportunity to be part of this visit to Japan. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Dr. Kito. Good morning, Mr. Ichihara. Good morning, Naho. Good morning, sir, in Delhi. First of all, I would like to thank again JWA. In spite of the bad weather, they have taken utmost care in the site visits. Just coming down to the discussion about NARBO, you did mention in your presentation, and you mentioned about the IWRM. I just want to mention that Dr. Abdullah, the chairman of NARBO, and the ex-chairman, Mr. Subijanto, they are already in touch with us. They have already visited India, and they are part of the technical committee giving input to the IWRM guidelines of CWC. They are already in this loop. So with the drip coming in, we can strengthen and try to see in that IWRM guideline also how can the dam safety can come and play in the IWRM guideline. So this is just, we already have initiated that, but we can strengthen through our collaboration and work together more on that. Yeah, thank you.
If Kido-san has any final remarks or comments, any comments or feedback?
Okay, thank you very much. And Dr. Pillai and Yoki-san and Manoji-san, thank you very much. So, and sorry for my bad English. So anyway, first of all, thank you for your collaborating with NARBO's activity, the Network of Asian River Basin Organization. So I say thank you very much again. So as Vice Secretary General of NARBO, yeah, and I'm very happy to start the TOR of our technical support to enhance the activities against seismic safety. Yeah, and so we are trying to make a manual and checklist at the certain dam, but I think it's a prototype. We will make the prototype of the manual. So in other words, it's the first step. So I think its prototype is so we will make the prototype that is useful for disseminate to other dams. But at that time, it needs to improve to fit in Indian condition through the dissemination. So anyway, and in this improving, and also it is needed the capacity development of the practitioner or dam staffs. So as Dr. Pillai mentioned, I agree that many workshops or other activities will be needed. It's very important, I think. So, and of course the emergency action plan (EAP) is also very important and very big issue. So I think so. In Japan, also we are now trying to establish and enhance and improve the EAP. Anyway, we can collaborate in the future and enhance and improve the dam safety, also including dam safety and the safety of the river basin, including the downstream of dam. So anyway, thank you very much. And okay. Yeah, okay. And I'd like to ask all of you, as you know, today it's the very day of the big earthquake 5 years ago. So please make brief pray for all victims at 2:46 to 6:46 p.m. Thank you.
Can I? Yeah. Before I give the floor to Dr. Panwal, I have 2 quick points. One is, while we go through this exposure visit, I did realize that what we have established so far is a quite important one, and it is what we called in the 90s the twinning arrangement between the Central Water Commission and Japan water agencies. But even if these activities may phase out, but your relation between the CWC and the Japan Water Agency will continue. As rightly said by Dr. Okazumi, you have both the similar problem, the similar challenges, which you are facing on day-to-day issue basis. And please let us continue this relation so that you can share the experiences and the challenges in the days to come, as long as there are dams in India, as long as there are dams in Japan. That's one thing. For this, I want to thank Ravi, Yoki, and Manoj, based on the go-ahead with the Pandya Saab, that you led the entire DRIP team to make this possible. And similarly, for the Japan Water Agency side, I really sincerely want to thank Dr. Kido and Ichihara-san for hosting us to date so honestly and so dedicatedly to make this thing happen. Thank you very much. And as a task team leader of the Delhi office, I'd like to thank GFDRR for having this budget, which made this whole thing enabled. Okay, that's one. Second point is, we are going to continue this in India. However, if the GFDRR could consider that we expand this opportunity and experiences in other South Asian countries and other parts of the world that face a similar problem of dam operation and maintenance. Thank you.
So the honor and the privilege of expressing formal thanks has been given to me. It's my proud privilege to convey a vote of thanks to our organizers, to our hosts, and I would like to mention them by their name, and I would like to pay my gratitude and respect. First of all, to Dr. Okazumi, who had to leave for his meeting from MLIT. We are grateful to him for his presence and his guidance. We would also like to thank from Japan Water Agency, Dr. Kido, the director, Mr. Ishihara, who has been with us for 5 days. We really enjoyed your company and your guidance and your interaction with us. I would also like to thank the World Bank officials and senior officers with us, Mr. Jun Matsumoto, Mr. Raj, who is part of our delegation, Miss Keiko, she was just here, I think she just left, and Miss Naho, who's been with us for these 4 or 5 years. I would also like to express thanks as a participant to CWC, Dr. Ravi Pillai, the project director, and his team, and of course the other officials. And I must say that this visit has been very fruitful, very satisfying, a very happy experience for all of us. Not only in terms of learning the dam safety aspects, the sedimentation aspects, but also learning about the culture of Japan, the socio-cultural aspects, enjoying a very fabulous hospitality, and of course, a very good comfort an enjoyable, a very pleasurable stay here. So I must thank all of that. And I must also convey my heartfelt gratitude and thanks to Ms. Mika, she's been diligently working with us for the last 5 days, and she has made all the difference to this, making a very pleasant stay here in Japan. So thank you very much, all of you, sir. Thank you.
I would like to also thank from this end, and apart from my colleague here, we also got the help from World Bank office here at Lodi State, and especially Mr. Devendra, who has just gone out. He has coordinated this meeting, and I thank you all once again. Thank you so much.